Occasionally I do homework, like over the weekend. Let's see. On Monday I had to give a presentation in my macroeconomics class. And I started it on Sunday at about 4:30. So I was on the computer working on that till about 2 in the morning.
Because I want to do pre-med, I know it's going to be a lot of studying, so it's not going to be as much fun. My mom has always said that college was kind of a big step. It's just where you kind of learn to balance free time and studying. I want to join a sorority, which obviously you're going to party a lot, you have some fun.
America is the one country in the world that doesn't seem to recognize that it's in competition for the great minds in the capital of the world.
上课。老师好。起坐。
这是strength in numbers。我比如说睡觉以前我就会看。这就是我第一次碰到微积分的题目，它就是在这里面以非常简单的语言来讲述微积分是怎么一回事情。
Americans aren't globally aware. They're more worried about what's happening in their community than they are in the world. Americans don't know they're competing with Indians and Chinese.
Brains are everywhere. Discoveries can be made everywhere. And industries built on those discoveries also can be anywhere.
You have to find A in the first equation, then substitute here.
In India, once you get into this academic course and you're serious about it, you don't have much of the option to choose between academics and something else. It's either academics and nothing else.
The people who are potentially losing their competitive edge are Americans.
Good morning, Carmel High School. This is Hillary Hoover with your morning announcements. Stand up for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are you in a softball conditioning? The 25th, I don't want to go.
Yeah, I know. That's because if you want to go, you should know where it is by now.
Do you stop?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What?
It's making me feel really awkward.
10 years from now, I don't know really what I'd be doing, but I think who I'll be as a person I don't think it's going to change much from who I am right now.
Why did you push?
Oh, freezing. I could be doing a lot of different things. I guess that could be decided at college in the next 4 years if I actually figure out what I want to do. I think I'll be happy with whatever I'm doing, because I don't think I would do something for any amount of time. I don't think I'd have a career in something that I didn't want to be doing, which means I probably won't be working in an office type situation. I don't think I ever want to have a cubicle. Maybe for a little bit if I can't find anything else.
1, 2, 3.
On your finger fairly firm.
Just twist it like the bottom, yeah. And then I got interested in medicine because I'm just really into helping people, and I just think you get an awesome feeling. It's a really rewarding experience, I think, being able to save lives.
Now you can actually touch it to the slide. It doesn't have to. So what are you looking for?
You're looking for clumping. I've always liked working with people. I'm just not that, 9 to 5 kind of girl. I don't like working in confined spaces. I like to have I like to be very versatile with the things I do. I think I'm more hands-on, and I love helping people. I think it'd be an awesome way to kind of serve the community.
Diode positive.
Yeah? Yes. From diode negative,
Diode to
it should go to
parallel.
ammeter.
Yes.
Good. Get a clock stable.
Right now, my career is already chosen. I know what I'm going to do. I know what engineering life is because my sister did the same thing, and I have enough background on that, and I know I want a master's degree, and probably even a PhD degree after that.
Do calculation individually. All of you take the data, do the calculation individually. Nobody should say, I don't know how to find the tangent later. 3 of you are doing, take your paper, do it the calculation. Why you are standing simply there?
My dad did physics, went into physics. My sister's favorite subject was physics, and it was like, learning physics was easier because when I came home, if I had a doubt, I could either go to my sister or my dad. And at the end of the day, my doubt was cleared.
Yeah, engineering is like the standard route taken by everybody right now, in India at least, I guess. That's the job scenario as such. The engineering is the safest. I'd want to be happy, like professional satisfaction. I wouldn't want to do something and get up every morning and do the same old thing. It should be interesting and challenging every day, and should intellectually stimulate you and in everything. And maybe obviously I'd want to get rich.
现在高三学习是内是累，但是我觉得这是一个是一种挑战，还有我总会有一种感觉，我预见到那个以后可能还会比这个要累啊。我具体上什么大学，我现在还是没有一个非常清楚的那个目标，但是我当然希望上一所一流的大学，然后在大学里我想学一些关于生物方面的专业。
真的没有远大理想，因为我不敢有远大的理想，只是觉得假如不成功的话会挺失望的，所以说我就从来没有什么远大理想，就觉得能这样子已经挺不错的。然后假如不想的话，然后又成功了，我会觉得会有一点惊喜的感觉，所以说我挺喜欢这种感觉。然后到了初中以后，好像作业一下子就增多了，就是增多到，那时候我想尽一切办法的，想尽一切时间用来做作业，然后但是有时候还是要做到，比如说爸妈都睡了，然后有时候我比如说坐在那边沙发上面，趴在那边写作业，然后写好以后稍微躺一会儿，觉得就是上课的时候非常非常集中时间， 回家以后嘛，基本上就是看点新闻，假如学校里面有一点点作业的话就做掉，然后在电脑前面一半时间玩游戏，一半时间编点程序。
1分之一，4分之一。好，下课。同学们再见。好。好，下课。帮我看2分钟。
What the flattening world means and the connectivity of the world means is that more people can play, and that people with talent and motivation and ability can participate in the global economy.
The last 15 years is with the internet. Now you have the Indians and Chinese on a level playing field with the US. This has never happened before. Suddenly the world became a very small place. All the barriers, all the differences between students over there and here came down. And now they're competing with each other.
I mean, we had a unique situation when the Europe education was destroyed post the World War II. Japan was destroyed post World War II. China was being run by communist insanity. And India was very, they circled themselves. They didn't want to go out and deal very much with the rest of the world. So we really had an incredible situation. That is a world that we'll never see again.
Most people have been through an educational system and they think, therefore, that they are experts in it. Everybody wants their kids to have the same kind of education they had, but the fact is the world has changed. And the kind of educational system that we had in the 1940s or 50s or 60s or 70s is outmoded today.
American K through 12 education has really been a failure for the last 25 years. And it's not because of any one person. All the people around the system are working very hard to make that education system better. But what has happened is that structurally, the American education system is broken.
By the 12th grade, only 3% of African Americans are proficient in mathematics, compared to 4% of Hispanics, 10% of Native Americans, 20% of whites, and 34% of Asian Americans.
Over 90% of middle school students are taught science by teachers with little or no training in the subject.
Out of 29 of the world's developed countries, the United States places 24th in mathematics.
I think American kids have a bigger challenge than Indian kids. And the reason is that when you grow up with economic certainty, it takes a very different kind of motivational pull. So when you grow up like I did, where my parents were both professionals, they were very smart, yet we had no money. I mean, I had to buy secondhand textbooks. And now for me, that economic opportunism is a simple beacon. It makes me work hard, it makes me apply myself. So I actually think kids in the United States have a bigger challenge of being able to get to this point because they have to apply themselves and rev their internal engine in a different way. And I'm not quite sure exactly how you get that uniformly like you do with economic opportunism.
The Chinese economy is growing so rapidly. The opportunities for people who are well educated are so extraordinary compared with a generation ago. Whereas in the US, where the general population is more comfortable, there's maybe not so much that economic drive. And we know that in high school, kids are just skating by quite often. I think we don't have the motivation throughout the society that is true in China. It doesn't mean we don't have it, but we don't have it as broadly.
You've got to realize that in India and China, they're struggling to get out of poverty. Higher education, becoming an engineer, becoming a scientist, is a passport out of poverty. That you're going to be much better off than your parents were, than your grandparents were, and you're going to get a lot of respect in society if you study math, science, and become an engineer. That's not the case in the USA. We have the hunger isn't there, the desire isn't there, the need isn't there. And that's why you'll find that Indian and Chinese kids are a lot more motivated to get into these fields and to succeed because they're fighting starvation, they're fighting hunger.
当时上大学的不多，所以大部分家长是没有上过大学，他们希望下一代上大学，自己的小孩肯定是能够有一个比较高的学历。
早一点叫他们有没有车要给的？
独生子女，还有文化大革命。那像我们这一届的吧，我们主要是，我和他爸爸两个人都是认为，就是说投资在教育啊这种。
I think my parents' idea of success will be maybe 5 years down the line we have a very financially stable job, we're happy with what we are doing, which comes first, and then like maybe a good family, like they'd want us to get married by then. I'm not so sure how that would work out, but have like a nice family, good husband, kids, and a nice home for yourself. I think that's what.
My mom's always there, and she's helped me study from. I mean, she helped me learn the alphabet. She helped me through all of my studies.
This is the alternate for plate. Use banana leaf to eat it.
One day, Tanne.
ஒரே ஒரு நாள் தானா இல்ல ரெண்டு மூணு நாள் அங்க இறங்கி
I mean, she used to sit next to me and read out everything, and I used to sit next to her and listen, and I used to grasp, and that was my ability. I mean, once I listened, I could remember it.
He asks you whether you take a learner's license. Unless the person has a license, you can't take them with you. You'll get fined.
Yeah, learner's license.
I know.
A lot of what my parents see is me coming and going. I see them at dinner on like one night a week. If they get home before about 5, they'll see me leave for work. And then I'll come home from work and I might eat something and I'll get changed and then I'll come down here.
I really like my family. I get along with them great. We have our arguments sometimes.
Did you see the fight?
I think because they set high expectations, I think it's more of, I don't want to let them down. I think that's more of a punishment than them grounding me or, restricting me to going out. Just disappointing them, that guilt that you have. I think that's the reason why I strive so much for success.
What are you watching? Gosh, what day without, or second without watching football?
Mom, we football's on one day a week. What do you mean, 1 second?
I want to have a good job and I want to be a doctor, but I also want to have a family.
How's calculus going? Do we have a test tomorrow?
What are you studying at Tyler's?
I'm not studying. I'm just hanging out there. I'm doing homework.
Oh, I thought you said
I've heard that excuse before.
What?
I'm doing homework.
I don't care.
I don't care if you're watching Desperate Housewives.
It looks like the American student's life is like almost a dream. It's like no studying, very light syllabus, and maybe study only when you want to.
No, we don't need to for the second one. For EE.UU, I don't need the line. I need the curve. Well defined on the y-axis, I can do x dy between 0 and 3.
Yesterday, that was Saturday, I got up in the morning at 5:45, got dressed for tuitions, and then 2 hours in tuitions after that, did a bit of math and physics, and then went to breakfast with my friends. Then after that, straight to school, and I think after another half an hour, we had classes for 3 hours after that, without a break.
Mom, it's not.
Wait, no, right, wait first.
A lot of pressure. I mean, it's like my dad and mom want me to get into IIT, and because it's the best. And IIT is like 5,000 get in and around 5 lakh write the exam. So I mean, the probability is really less, and so that's a lot of pressure. And there's always the competition. When I sit in a tuition class, the guy sitting next to me understands something that makes me want to understand it a bit more than him.
3. But I'm going to use the property that.
So the high school experience in India is simpler because it has a very simple organizing goal, which is you have to graduate from high school with a great grade point average, otherwise you're not going to get a great job or a great graduate school program. And so everybody kind of aligns themselves. And that the intensity of education really increases. And you might argue almost too much, because I have kids, the parents of whom I know, that actually literally start work at 7 a.m. in the morning and go all the way till 7 p.m. at night, just nonstop. So the intensity really steps up. So if you were to think of the purpose of high school as being absorb as much as I can, your experience in India is vastly simpler and more intense than in the United States.
基本上就除了学校的时间就是家里的时间了。有时候会啊，就比如说什么嘉年华那种东西，到上海来的时候也会有几个同学出去，然后每年圣诞的时候也会有几个人到 KTV 里面去唱点歌之类的，就这种东西了。因为总归学习还是第一位的，然后我还觉得就是没什么事情好出去的吧。
那么，在安排时间上呢，我就是，基本上抓紧一点，然后回家了以后先拉琴，拉完琴以后做作业。我基本上是，我不想把自己搞得太累，但是我也是尽量能够很认真的去做那些作业，因为我比较追求那个完美嘛。然后如果说有什么东西就是说学习一直学不好的话，我会就是心里很
他这下哆哆咪来，这个橡皮筋啊，哆哆咪来，啦哒哩滴呀哒哩滴，是不是？你哆哆咪来啦，你这速度转不过来的。好了
I'm just not the type of person that can study, for 20 hours a day. I like to kick back and have fun because I do think high school and college is a time to have fun, but it's also a time to, you're going there because you are a student and you are there to get good grades. But I think you become independent and responsible, and part of growing up is realizing that, again, it's a balance, so you have to learn how to do both. Well, I hope I have a seat.
Wait, what is there?
I was saying like how to watch football games, and there's like, well, they tell you on
That's a little awkward.
They're talking to Kenitra.
Even before I had even applied to Purdue, they sent me a letter that because of my PSAT score, which qualified me for the National Merit Semifinalist, that said if I chose to apply to Purdue, that they would give me the full tuition. So, and that's another thing about the whole standardized test is that, you know, I took the PSAT without any preparation for it. I don't think I tried that hard on it, and I didn't find it to be that difficult. And right there, that gave me a full tuition to Purdue. And they had an Xbox 360 in there.
And we're interested in going to college so we can play Xbox 360.
Well, I could do video game design.
So,
there were posters up on the wall that said, like, are you interested in game design, which, I mean,
okay.
I've done stuff like
so that's part
designing
of,
video game levels.
of CGT would be designing.
No, I mean, I don't think they have a course for it. But,
you could go into it.
It's something you could go into. Yeah, computer graphics, English and communication, so I've already got part of that. Calculus and statistics, I already took Calculus BC and I'm taking statistics right now, so that's done. So computer programming I'm gonna have to take, but if it's anything like Stephen's computer science class, it won't be that tough. There's a chance that I'll actually have to start putting more effort into schoolwork. Because that's what people have always told me, because I've always kind of excelled without putting forth a lot of effort. So I know that when I get to college, I'm actually going to have to somewhat start studying for classes a lot more.
The Chinese school year at the secondary level is a full month longer than the US school year. And if you look at the time spent in school during the day, that is also longer. If you add to that the amount of time spent doing homework and studying, by the end of high school, Chinese students have spent twice as many hours studying as American students.
In the late 1950s, after Sputnik, this nation was very concerned about math and science education, and we provided huge subsidies for teachers to learn math and science, to go into math and science education. We recognized the importance of math and science.
Today, a new moon is in the sky, a 23-inch metal sphere placed in orbit by a Russian rocket.
Here an artist's conception of how the feat was accomplished. A three-stage rocket. Number one, the booster in the class of an intercontinental missile. The smaller second stage took over at 5,000 miles an hour and carried on to the highest point reached.
This caused a huge increase in the wages of scientists and engineers. So the labor market was telling young people, this is a great place to be. It wasn't just words from high tech and government officials.
What is interesting about discussions today about the quiet crisis, about the flattening world, is that this is another moment where the world is shifting.
Many of the people who went to college to become mathematicians, scientists, and language and area studies specialists under the National Defense Education Act, which came after Sputnik, are now retiring. And so we need another generation that is as focused on reaching high standards in those subjects.
Whether somebody can cloak the economic challenge in the same way that you cloaked the Sputnik. And there's a difference, obviously. We didn't want the Russians to be competing. In some sense, we don't want China and India to be poor forever and ever. We want them to be catching up with us. We just want to be staying ahead of the pack. And that must be a harder thing to express to people. There isn't this moment of, oh my God, they will have nuclear missiles floating above us and they're better than we are.
Get back! Get back!
That's why I'm looking at it. Like, so is this the one for like the test tomorrow? Or is it
No, this is the one that we have to turn in. This
I already turned that in.
This is for like
because you were there last class or the day of the test. Yeah, so you got them.
They're closing like a week.
Oh yeah, I didn't do it.
Although I might not score a perfect on the SATs or in math and in science, I do think that I was brought up to be more well-rounded in a sense of socially, not taking anything away from the kids in China and India because they do work hard. I think with them it's more success, especially in the family, is determined by how smart you are and the type of profession you pursue. But I think the American system of education, we have a lot of extracurriculars. We have athletics and sports, and they're huge in our school. We have student government, and it's to get everyone involved in something, and I think that's what makes us more well-rounded.
Exams don't work anymore.
Doesn't that person need to have a funeral? Surgeons just cut people up all the time. Put them up anyway.
If you're 17 in the United States, it means you have a driving license for a car, which you don't get here. And you hang out much more. You have, your opportunities are on a whole scale. In India, once you're 17, you're probably already decided what you're going to do.
And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to collapse.
Yeah, they have much more fun, I can say. Because, we are almost all the time cooped up studying, or, we are supposed to be cooped up and studying. I love playing football and chess. And, India is not a country where football is appreciated as a profession, so academics is my choice.
For 1 or 2 years only he stayed with the typical Indian music. After that he broke away from that. Now, if at all he hums only the rock.
No, seriously, if I were in America right now, I would have probably got a scholarship for football, soccer.
Yeah, that's a point.
Or music.
Music? Please.
People say I'm crazy and
you wanted this space with
I mean, my friends would love to do something differently. I mean, four of us even have a band. We sing together. And I mean, we tried making it big. We're still trying. And yeah, friends always, the idea is there. But family, no. I mean, they want you to stay focused and make your life. So they don't want you to take any risks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your Honor, please, you gotta believe what I say, what I will tell. Happened just the other day. I must confess, 'cause I heard about it now. I need your help, gotta make this here thing stop. And baby, I swear to tell the truth. No, when we started, to be frank, when we started, we sucked. Because we both tried to do the high pitch and these both did the bass. And World of Our Own was a song we tried in.
One for the money and the free rides, just two for the lie that you denied. Alright. Three for the calls you've been making, it's four for the times you've been faking. Alright, I'm gonna tell it to you. Alright, I rest my case. Hey.
我从小就参加数学竞赛，后来到了初中以后，然后就开始参加了数学竞赛，但是从来没有想过去全国决赛。这是全国决赛拿的奖，就是全国只有100多个人能去参加比赛，然后去了以后才能拿这个奖。比如说上海就只有6个，每年只有6个。
很喜欢接受考试。他刚去读书，读1年级的时候，他回来，他感到这个读书很开心。有考过，有第一次考试以后，他知道这么也考试了。他回来自己会画一张考卷，自己设计一张考卷，自己对自己进行考试。
没有人会说自己是一个天才的学生的。我只不过就是觉得，我觉得我的学习方法比别人好得多。这样子的话，我用在学习上的时间比别人少，然后成绩又可以比别人好。然后我因为又是学习是凭兴趣的，而不是家长之类强迫的，所以说我对学习有兴趣，自然就非常的想学习，然后就学得好了。
就是把 K+1带进去。
差不多就这意思，所以没办法。
Now next one, pay attention to this phrase that is, it must be very inconvenient for somebody to do something. Now you cannot say you are convenient, it's wrong. So is it convenient for somebody to do? Now here, move around. Can you use another word? Move around. Move around.
今后出来的工作呢比较轻松一点，比如说他可以去学些外语啊，或者是同声翻译啊这种，因为他脑子也反应比较快。
Do you think it is a good place of enjoyment? Do you think it's a good place of enjoyment? Okay, 吴小媛 Do you think that this is a good place?
Of course, I think. Of course.
Of course. Okay, give me the reason why.
Because I can wander in the bookshop and reading all kinds of books without paying any money.
Without paying money, okay? All right, maybe this is.
It's still
What are
good.
the leftovers for? Oh, sell by September 30th. What is it today?
September
No,
31st. It's good. It's just a guideline.
Technical guy, but I think technicians are becoming a commodity, and as people get brighter and brighter, technically, you almost lose that liberal arts side of things, the ability to think, the ability to reason. I mean, you can write great lines of code, but if you don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, you lose that. And I think I'd rather see him, if that's the direction, become more of a thinker, and I would see this with benefit kids, a thinker than a rote technician. And we had some of those discussions as these kids were going through some of the gifted, talented programs even here at Carmel. We need to focus more on the math, the science, the technology, because that's what we've got to do to compete with the rest of the world. I don't think so.
You have anything with you?
Yeah. I have one more, man.
I think I'm going to do that. Later on tonight, I will.
I work at Fazoli's, and I've worked there for, I'm just going to say, a year and 9 months. So I'm one of the longest working employees there. Pay's not that great, but it's decent, and I enjoy the people I work with, and it's not terribly difficult work. So.
$1 there. You like to put your name on there? Here, you write your name on there.
Okay, $8.52.
That sounds pretty cheap.
We talk a lot about whether American kids work enough, devote themselves to things enough. American kids actually work a lot. What we're really talking about is the distribution of time. When children play sports, they dedicate a lot of time to those activities. When a teenager has a part-time job, that young person is working hard. And so we should never forget that young people and Americans, in fact, do work hard. So it's a question of distribution of activity and effort.
When I talk to parents and I talk about how much Chinese students study, how long the school year is, how many hours they study and so on, you get a mixed response. Some parents agree with it absolutely, and again think we're not asking enough of our students, and that's doing them a disservice because then they won't be as prepared as they need to be. And other people are very concerned about that. They don't want more homework because they either want their students to be able to work after school or participate in a range of other activities.
So I think the issue is not that Americans are not so smart, or our high school education is so terrible we can't do this work, or our college thing is so bad. We're actually pretty flexible, much more so than a lot of other countries, because we do it by letting the young people make the decision.
So when I grew up, I went into engineering for the very simple reason that my dad told me to. So I wish I could say that I was more enlightened than that. But the reason why my dad told me that is because he felt that the best economic outlook for me was as an engineer versus in any of the other sciences.
Bill Gates is more respected in Indian schools than he is in American schools today. I mean, the fact is that Indian kids look up to the tech entrepreneurs in the USA, and they're the heroes. I mean, I'll tell you, when I've run 2 technology companies. When I used to go back as a tech executive, I was treated like a movie star in India, simply because I was a high-tech executive who had succeeded in the USA.
I need to study for this genetics test. I haven't studied at all. I haven't even read the chapter.
Also, question number 33, you should be able to get right because I will accept 3 of the 4 answers on that.
All right.
I'm really thinking according to probability. Essay number 1 is worth 10 points. Number 3.
Shoot.
那么我对我自己的期望是，我以前看那个就是体育比赛嘛，然后我就非常喜欢有一位 F1 车手，然后他后面拿冠军了，那么我就在想，我的人生目标就希望在某一个，我现在还不知道是哪一个，某一个很小的领域，非常小的点上，能够取得世界第一。
3 degree also you can go to America.
I don't see myself as a homemaker. I don't think I'd be happy or content being a homemaker. I think I just want more out of life. For my mom, I think it's good. You know, it's like her idea of happiness is that. I don't think mine's that.
Yeah, basically my first priority to develop my kids is to become globally competitive. All the times right from day one I'm attempting the same thing. Give the freedom, give the fearlessness to face anybody freely and effortlessly.
I think we should move.
Hey, why don't you get some more rocks? Corporations or companies are going to be a lot more willing to give us money if we can show that we actually have done something. Like right now, if we're like, I think a lot of what is going to shape where I'm going in the future just depends on how much effort and time I put into developing the strengths that I have. I have several friends who had a lot of potential and went to college and wasted that potential. And I mean, I don't think I'm going to do that.
With all he does, with a job and class president and the newspaper and a girlfriend, I'm thrilled that he gets the grades that he does and stays out of trouble. And
I have a strong feeling he is not performing up to what he can do. I don't mind if he studies a few hours less, he plays a few hours of chess more, football more and things like that. But so long as he gets he brings out the performance which commensurates with what he has as skills, that will be fine with me.
See, becoming an engineer and getting into a very good job was a great goal to look forward to for Sridhar or me, my brother and me in the past. But nowadays youngsters think of that as not so great. It's not so cool, right?
首先，他不是一个当官的料，他当不了官，因为你知道中国的官场很复杂，他需要奸诈，他不会奸诈，我知道，他从小到大很正直，非常正直的一个人，这是我完全有这个信心。10年以后，他也是一个很正直的人。
同学，你已经录取在原培班。 我以我个人的身份向你表示祝贺，希望你在北大的学习中能为将来的工作打下坚实的基础，也向你全家祝贺并问候。北京大学林纯正。收到的时候，有一点点失望的吧，就是因为我第一志愿是数学系，然后第二志愿才是原培班嘛，所以说稍微有一点失望。
Unless the U.S. wakes up and realizes the new threat, realizes the fact that we're competing with anyone, anywhere in the world, we're going to lose. We're not going to be the leaders in the next 30 years or so unless we wake up and realize that.
And it takes decades to create a high-performing scientist or engineer. Because these things unfold over time, people tend to overlook them. It is a crisis because by the time one recognizes what has happened, it takes time to remedy the situation.
I think the key thing is not to get into a game where we say, China's graduating 600,000 engineers, we're only graduating 60,000. Oh my goodness, we're going to lose our comparative advantage. We will lose our competitive edge. That's not the case. It depends upon how good our 60,000 people are, how well the industries make use of them. And it also depends how quickly, of course, the wages in China and India and other countries come up for these people. And they will be rising fairly rapidly for good people in those countries.
So if you think that what America does really well is creating opportunity, that ultimate economic mobility creates great motivation for people to want to apply themselves, those that do want to apply themselves, and get results and rewards. So I think that economic mobility, that open environment, socially, culturally, economically, is very important. I think, and it doesn't exist that much in other parts of the world. Still today, this is the land of opportunity.
The question is, can Americans continue to add substantial value to an integrated world economy so that the incomes of Americans continue to rise, and not just the incomes of the top 20 or 30% who get the best education, but I'm talking about the incomes of most Americans. That's the goal here. It's not to be number one necessarily in everything. It's not to knock the Chinese and the Indians down. It's to be part of an increasingly, hopefully, more valuable set of human minds doing more and more complicated and more productive things.